watching Weasel News.
My name is Tarquin Janus McFall. My son, Bazil McFall. My father, Daniel McFall. And my close friend, Arthur Cain, are also all being falsely accused of a murder of my niece, Hunter. This is absolutely an abomination from the legal system. I don't know how they've conjured up this lie. Cassius Black has had it out for us since day one. I have the strongest hope that the verdict will be given us not guilty, as them three men are innocent. The only crime they've ever committed is being part of a loving family.
Agreed.
Well,
should we get a picture?
As you probably
top
know,
of
the
the
McFall
steps?
family are very into charity
Let's
and
get a picture on
giving
top of
to
the
some of the
steps.
less fortunate. So if any of the maybe homeless community of the city arise to this occasion,
Should we face this
we'll
way?
be sure to feed them. And during my time outside, I'll be making sure this protest is completely peaceful, as we would not want any ill intent towards any of the officers of the law. Thanks, brother.
I'm going in. I love you guys. Group hug. Group hug.
Free the bro 10 times. He's done nothing wrong. Damn Cassius Black to hell.
Damn Cassius Black to hell.
Please bear with me. I will release a written full ruling on the docket at a later time. However, I'm just going to go through each of the charges and go over the evidence that was presented. Okay, so for each, these three individuals have both all been charged with accomplice to aggravated first-degree murder. Mr. McFall-Bertstien is facing an additional charge of attempted first-degree murder. We'll go over the accomplice charge. Oh, sorry. I'm going to make a correction here. Daniel McFall and Arthur Cain are facing each account of accomplice to aggravated first-degree murder. Bazil McFall-Bertstien is facing 1 times accessory to aggravated first-degree murder and 1 times attempted first-degree murder. For the accomplice charge, we have to look at all the conditions there. They all have to be met in order to convict someone in the state of San Andreas fully. Accomplice is a person who participates in the crime knowingly and voluntarily. The individual must be at the scene of the crime, or helping aid in the crime, and were involved in the committing of the crime. There's also an additional condition there that has to be of their own will and cannot be coerced or threatened into participation. We heard several testimonies, one from Mr. Lloyd, and if we refer back to both the testimony and deposition of Cassius Black, we find that these two statements given by people are conflicting. Also, the statements made by Ophelia Dane also conflict. Whether or not Cassius had been holding the body, or if the scene looked unusual, like the body had been moved, or if it had just been there. We have a shell casing there at the crime. We have no alerts of whether or not there were any shootings in the area, and the possibility that the body was just dumped there. So with all these conflicting statements, the court finds it hard to believe that the conditions of accomplice are met. There's nothing that particularly places these individuals, that being Mr. McFall and Mr. Cain, directly on the scene of the crime or helping aid in the crime. So for accomplice to first degree, and additionally first degree murder is defined as to cause the death of a person with premeditated intent that can be proved to be deliberate, planned, and targeted. We do see several text messages and GPS locations of where these were occurring and where people were pinged. However, nothing was ever explicitly stated that any of these individuals had murdered or particularly shot or harmed anybody. We have phone calls that occurred, but we only really know about the contents of those phone calls from the testimonies of those heard, many of which have been conflicting. So for those charges, for Mr. McFall, Mr. Daniel McFall, sorry, and Mr. Arthur Cain, we find these two not guilty of accomplice to first-degree murder or aggravated first-degree murder. In regards to Mr. Bazil McFall-Bertstien, we have the one-time accessory charge. Accessory is defined as a person who participates in the cover-up, obfuscates, or otherwise assists in concealing an individual from being apprehended or withholding evidence that would assist in a conviction. They have to be there on their own will and cannot be coerced or threatened into participation. The court finds that even if this was Mr. Bertstien that did attack Mr. Lloyd, he didn't try to cover up or obfuscate something, rather this individual, sorry, did not really try to cover up or obfuscate. They just asked for a retraction and for something to be posted in its place. This was a public tweet. It's not really evidence that had been submitted to a court or private evidence that was obtained by law enforcement. It was a publicly made statement that was asked to be retracted. It's not really covering up something that is already public knowledge at that point. And didn't really withhold evidence that would assist in a conviction. Nothing was really withheld in this situation. And then attempted first-degree murder is the other charge that Mr. McFall-Bertstien is looking at. Attempted first degree is to take actions that could be reasonably expected to cause the death of a person with premeditated intent that can be proved to be deliberate, planned, and targeted. We don't have any direct evidence that has been presented that places Mr. McFall-Bertstien directly at that location. We have a text message that was sent from Bazil to Mr. Lloyd, but did not admit any guilt. It was just propose what he would like the tweet to be reworded as. It didn't necessarily try to obfuscate or anything, or place him directly at the scene, as Mr. Lloyd did not know prior who Mr. Bertstien was, or who was texting him at the time. We can also not prove with 100% certainty that between all these text messages between the McFalls, that necessarily there was a plan to hurt Mr. Lloyd in any way. I admit there is a lot of reasonable suspicion here, but there is no concrete evidence for attempted first-degree murder. So with that being said, this court finds that Mr. Bazil McFall-Bertstien for one-time accessory to aggravated first-degree murder and one-time attempted first-degree murder. This court finds him not guilty. Let it be known, all defendants have been found not guilty. They are free to go. Mr. McFall did not violate his bail, so that may be appealed for. However, I believe that Mr. McFall-Bertstien did violate his bail, and that cannot. With this being said, this court is now concluded. Thank you for coming.
Get these fucking
Thank you, Your
cuffs
Honor.
out of me.
Fucking get me out
Your
of this
Honor,
shit cell.
I have a quick question for you, real quick. The state can.
Get him out of those fucking cuffs.
Get this innocent man out of these cuffs.
No,
Free the
she's not.
fucking
It's,
guys.
it's Kinsley Murphy.
Jesus fuck.
Let's get out of this shithole. Fuck this place. Open that
Can you uncuff
fucking
me?
door. Fuck
I'm not
off, I'm not getting
detained
staples.
anymore.
I've got jobs to do. Open that door now.
Cuff me from this chair.
Alright, I'm gonna go to the back.
Because of the gasoline.
I want to fucking get out of here. Yo, Maxine, you want a statement? Fuck Raven Teal. Started today with an NFA. Lovely jubbly, just busted case. Yeah? Fuck Raven Teal. Write that in your newspaper.
Harry, get this.
No, Donnie.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
Fuck
Feels
it,
unreal.
I thought that was going to go the other way.
Now let's start the celebratory ride.
Right, what's it saying?
There he fucking is.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Let's go,
There he
Danny.
fucking is. There he is. Give us a
Speech.
Well, thank you for all the support. It's been
Oh,
boring
yeah.
as fuck sat in my business doing fuck all for the past 4 weeks.
He's doing a
The
speech right now.
$75,000 the police took off me for bail, I'm probably going to spend it on drugs.
Fuck yeah.
And, yeah, fuck Raven Teal. I'm off bail now, I can go where I want. The state, let's watch out.
Yeah.
I am pleased that I hired the best lawyer in the state that money can buy. I had to sell him my soul to get him. But we got there in the end. It's been a long old 4 weeks of being thrown in and out of jail, having to pay the most expensive bail ever set in the state, having to stick to the most strict bail conditions ever set in the state, all because they had fuck all evidence. So I'd like to see an improvement from the DOJ, especially Raven Teal. But no, I'm very thankful for all the support around me, and a big thank you to the McFall family.
Okay. I mean, I think we definitely heard a correct administration of justice in this case today. If you noticed in my opening and closing statements, I called about the administration of justice multiple times because a lot of people think administering justice is just finding somebody guilty, but it's not. Sometimes finding somebody not guilty is also an administration of justice. It's an administration of justice towards the defendant and instead of the victim in that case, but it's still an administration of justice. The state called multiple witnesses throughout that case, but in my firm belief, I don't think they called the important witnesses. I mean, Lucas Lloyd just received essentially a statement, a sentence or two from Cassius Black, and then just tweeted that out, and that was like supposedly one of the state's star witnesses, and that witness even stated on the stand that he didn't even know any of it to be true, and that he's tweeted out in the past just completely satire things. He didn't know fact finding, and I think personally, I feel like the state should have dug into that further before letting that witness take the stand. It seems like very little witness prep happened from the state in this entire case. So typically, when you're entering a case before you go to trial, you do what's called witness prep, and you work with that witness on how to testify, how to answer questions, how to understand, when objections are happening, what to do, items like that. I don't think there was any witness prep done for any of the state's witnesses at all. I think if the people of the state want to be pissed at anybody in the administration of justice process, I think the person and the people to be pissed at in this case would be the state prosecutors. They, as the kids would say, they fumbled the bag on this one pretty bad. I would have never went into a trial that unprepared and with that little research and background knowledge of the case to even present it in front of a court is kind of embarrassing. The state was even offered a plea deal at one time, to which the state rejected because the state said that they could easily find a guilty verdict from the judge. So, I mean, a plea deal was even offered for these individuals.
Could you give us any detail what that plea deal
So
was?
I can't fully detail the plea deal. I can detail parts of it. So essentially, it exchanged a plea of no contest, which means that the individuals will serve time. And then there was also an exchange of a possible guilty plea. Just simply because, at the end of the day, even some criminals, if they didn't do something, they won't fight something just because it might be a waste of their time, right? So there's individuals that'll plead guilty to crimes that they didn't even commit just to save essentially their own time, because they don't care about their criminal record, right? Like if you're arrested, I don't know, 100 times, you have like a lengthy record. What's another attempted first charge? So that was all extended to the state, and the state basically said, I mean, go fuck yourself. We want life. We want death, which is absolutely absurd, anyways, considering it's an accomplice charge. It's not even a straight first charge, and one of them was an accessory charge. I think other problems in this case. I think bail was set incredibly high. It was the highest bail ever set in the state's history.
It was, yes.
$75,000 is just insane for an accomplice or an accessory charge. But at the end of the day, administration of justice happened. The 3 defendants were found not guilty, and they will be able to receive their bail money back, as well as any of the incarceration. So Arthur Cain, being incarcerated the whole time, not being able to pay bail, the state will be paying him an amount of $35,000.